Okay, this patch healed my Hoyo scars. Wuthering Waves 2.2 has been my favorite patch in all of the game's lifespan. We were eating so well with this patch, if you get the joke, and man do I have a lot to say about it. This game is receiving frequent updates and really is just getting better. First, I would just really like to congratulate Kuro Games and the devs who made this patch as good as it was. This game deserves a huge round of applause for how far it's come in less than a year, and with the anniversary coming up soon, I can only imagine the freebies that we're going to be getting. The game really has gotten better in terms of story, characters, exploration, and has not yet made me want to bash my head against a wall through tedious events or stressing about getting the newest character. Each patch would introduce a quality of life thing and actually has developed the world and Rover's place in it. There was no real reason for this patch to be as good as it was, and frankly, I don't know what we did to deserve it, but now we have it and it's here. When I say that every scene was well thought out and full of details, I really mean it. From the character expressions, to the animations, to the camera angles, any semblance of feeling like things were drawn out was simply not here. No idle animation one, or just watching a character put their hand on their heart for no reason. Maybe the exposition on how important the swords were was too much, but again, I'm terrible at focusing when it comes to lore, so it might not be the same issue for everybody. The scenery was great and was full of so many cinematic cutscenes. The lighting and effects were so well thought out, and this gacha game actually felt like a real game. Even for someone like me who often spaces out whenever text feels too lore heavy or just drawn out, there would always be someone's facial expression or some sort of little animation that would just bring me back to focusing on what's going on. With cinematics coming every few minutes, I was engaged and really just having a great time. Characters would look to whoever was talking and avoid eye contact when nervous. There would be genuine emotion behind their eyes alone and general mannerisms to match every character's personality. From Rover's stoic personality to Cartethia's timid demeanor to Cantarella's general confident attitude. Everybody made sense and it combined perfectly to tell a great story about a premium character and a character who isn't even out yet. Nobody felt forced to be here, and I wasn't thinking that they'd disappear next patch. Story and consistency was prioritized with reference to existing characters, resulting in a straightforward line instead of a crazy circle. Cantarella's existence as a whole felt like a natural progression in the story and had no reason to be that good. I wasn't thinking that she was just here for sales. She could have easily succeeded based on her trailer alone, but Kuro took the time to develop both her and Cartethia separately as characters while still giving them distinct personalities. I'm willing to bet that many of you were gonna pull on her just because of how she looked, but now you have a better reason to pull on her, and that's because she's a genuinely good character. Kuro does a great job in giving personality to characters that already could have sold just based on their looks. All of these characters had designs that were just good enough and they would get pulled on, but Kuro really went above and beyond, yet again. The quest focused on the three characters, Rover, Cartethia, and Cantarella, with hopes of finding the meaning of Cartethia's existence. Cartethia and Cantarella both wanted to right their past and had guilt for what happened. Cartethia had no right to be as good as she was, and the bond that she created with Rover was executed perfectly, introducing her at the end of 2.0's story and building on her character later. Their interactions were genuinely cute. When I first saw her design, hot take, I thought she looked lame, but then as I got to know her, I thought, oh, this is like a good character. After doing the quest, she might just have one of my favorite arcs in all of Wuthering Waves, but that also could be the recency bias talking. I'm pretty confident that Cartethia is going to end up being a fan favorite even 1 year from now. Shifting gears, Cantarella was the premium unit of this patch, but instead of shifting the story awkwardly to focus on her, she served as more of a supporting role and was shifted to naturally after Cartethia's arc was concluded. We were at a point of the story where Cartethia was more important than Cantarella, and we ended up finding about Cantarella later, which was good story writing. Cantarella mostly was in the background for the duration of this quest, but we were still able to get enough of who she is without having to do her companion and exploration quest, which will be covered in a separate video altogether. I'd also like to touch upon Rover, who as a character gradually became more reactive to the world around them and wasn't just a self-insert that we were able to grasp the actual personality of. Beyond, of course, the default main character just being quiet and nice. In the beginning of Wuthering Waves, I admittedly reduced them as a character who was just another self-insert, which worked due to the fact they were in a fantasy world. I didn't care for Rover whatsoever besides thinking they look cool both as male and female, but having them show personality and actually speak makes them actually a character, which is great. While pretty generic, they displayed signs of being protective and reassuring while also remaining strong-willed. This contrasted a lot with Cartethia's timid and unsure personality, which made them both all the better. We were also given a new 5-star sword, which is pretty good, and the progression to get there was well thought out. Newer players are gonna hear about a fabled sword and will actually get it and not feel swindled like they did with Kaya 5 years ago. This is a pretty big milestone because it's gonna reward players for getting through the game regardless of when, so not only this patch, ultimately rewarding any new player regardless of the time they start playing, and it's gonna be cool if we get more of this in the future, or if this was put into other gacha games. Arrow Rover was also pretty cool and had thoughtful attention to detail to them given considering who they were fighting. Fleur-de-Lis was doing arrow damage in the battles, so Rover becoming Arrow after fusing with Cartethia was a nice touch and made thematic sense. Their ult was also pretty cool. I'm a sucker for ultimates that have characters' eyes glow, and I'm really considering building them to unbench my Gion. The issue for me is that the next form could be more cool, resulting in wasted resources. Fighting Fleur-de-Lis was really satisfying. The music, the visuals, and playing as all three rovers really made the time spent to get here feel satisfying, and it just all paid off. It was really just fun, and I hope we get more fights like it. If I were to give a gripe, it would be how Abby would stop the story progression multiple times to talk about food, but I also could see myself being too hard on the character due to the existence of other floating creatures in this genre that follow the main character. Now, I don't like Abby at all. I don't find her cute, and when she got introduced, I was terrified of what it could mean for the game. I think she was fine overall because she spent most of it being quiet, in the main quest and also in Cantarella's companion quest. I could see a lot of people finding Abby to be cute. She just isn't for me, and I don't think that's ever gonna change. But having Abby and Rover have two different eye colors, both yellow and blue, is a pretty nice design choice for each character, showing their connection as one unit. While I don't have her yet, Cantarella as a character feels pretty good to play. Her jellyfish aesthetic is great, especially considering her companion quest in mind. I'll try to get her, but whether or not I'll be able to is up to the RNG lords. Some other minor criticisms is I could see the gameplay for this main quest to be repetitive considering all we really did was go in a boat and knock down some pillars. And honestly, yeah, I think it is repetitive. The boat was also kind of clunky to control as well, but overall the story was pretty decent. Anyways, if you haven't tried Wuthering Waves, I really recommend that you give it a chance. In a genre where the other games have been suffering and players have been growing discontent with their games, it's really refreshing feeling like my time's validated and just like the devs are actually making the game better, and it's not just a war all the time with every player. It's a fully fledged game at some points, and it really feels like it wants you to enjoy the game. Similar to like, enjoy the game first and do the gacha second. I really like the writing in this game, especially in the companion quests, and I think if you do too in other games, you're gonna really enjoy this one. The 1-year anniversary is coming up, and I'm pretty hyped for it. I can only imagine how many stuff we're gonna get and just how much fun there's gonna be. Things do look bright for the future of this game, and I can only imagine the direction of quality we're gonna get in the years to come. If you haven't done the quest, go do it, and if you haven't played the game, please install it. That's all. Thank you.